I'm Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm in Orlando, Florida, and welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. I have a Florida licensed Ph.D. psychologist on the program today, somebody I've known for a number of years. Her name is BKelly. She is also a Florida Supreme Court certified family mediator. She's been working in this area for over 20 years. I've known her for probably most of that time, and I've worked with her on many cases and have a great deal of respect for her. I know she's very well regarded in the Central Florida area. I know she's very involved in the collaborative process. She's a member of the International Academy of Collaborative Professionals. I mean, she's got a lot on her bio, but I know she's very humble and wants me to get started right in. So BKelly, welcome to the channel.
Thank you, Tom. It's nice to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you today because I think you have a lot to offer to our viewers. I always say that I believe families matter, and I want to provide hope and help to families to successfully navigate the family law process in a healthy way. And I think you can offer a lot to help people, parents, husbands and wives, navigate this process and do it in a healthy way. So I get a lot of questions from clients about, how are we going to navigate this process? And I often, in the past, I've called it co-parenting therapy, but in talking with you, I know you now call it co-parenting consultation. So can you tell our viewers what that is?
Oh, sure. So, and I use the word consultation because I think for parents who want to build that successful co-parenting relationship, it's really being future-oriented and solution-focused. And so the goal of co-parenting consultation is really to help parents early in a divorce transition to new ways of working together as parents, and then later really, as you said, navigate the challenges of raising happy, well-adjusted children in two stable homes. We want parents to kind of work through those co-parenting issues and just get about the business of taking care of their children.
Right, absolutely. So, Barbara, you're somebody I would send somebody to. Let's say I'm representing husband or wife or a parent in a paternity case, and they're really questioning, they're coming in and say, well, how do we communicate to the children that we're separating or that we're divorcing? And, we're concerned about the impact on the kids. What would you tell that person or that couple to help them navigate that process?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. And I love it when parents ask that question because that tells me they're being thoughtful and mindful about how they want to take care of their children through this process. Whether parents realize it or not, they're going to write a story that their kids will have looking back that will be their story of what happened and what their experiences were. And knowing this is a super emotional time for parents, it can be hard to sort of set your own emotions aside or see through your emotions to really think about things from a kid perspective. But we really try and approach it from a kid-focused perspective. Think about where your children are developmentally, how they think about things, and then set the foundation, unfold the story from there. So if parents can do it, working together to create what that story is going to be, and then thinking about the age and developmental stage of your kids. Younger kids need more concrete information. Older kids do better with some more, you can be a little more abstract. And so thinking about how much do you know, what can you tell your kids? Do you want to do that together or separately? And letting your kids guide you in terms of the information they want or need. One of the tips I always give parents is when your children start to ask questions, try and take 2 actions before you answer, just so you're clear and understand from their kid perspective what they're asking. So if, for example, if your child asks you a big question that you're not sure how to answer, like, why exactly are you and mom getting divorced? Or why, did something happen with dad? You can say, gosh, that sounds like a really big question. What makes you ask that? Or it sounds like you've been thinking about that. How are you feeling about that thought? And then sometimes the child will give you a little bit more information. and that'll help guide you. If you're not sure about your answer, you can always take a break to call in a lifeline or give yourself a chance to think about it and say, that's a really good question, and I want to give you a good answer. Let me take some time to think about it, or let's talk about it after dinner, and then just make sure you get back to your child.
That's great advice. I know you really enjoy the co-parenting consultation and working with families and helping them. So when you meet with a couple, how do you help them kind of develop that vision for how they're going to co-parent the children after they're separated, after they're divorced, or living in separate homes? How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, the place that I often start is just by asking parents, that question: what's the story you want your kids to have about how you took care of them and what their experience was like through this process? So that's the starting place. And we talk about what's that story they want them to have. And then what is their hope for how their children, for the future? What's your hopes for your children for the future? And how do you hope to be in the future as co-parents? We may not be there today. It may not feel like you can get there in the next few weeks, but in the future, what do you want that co-parenting relationship to look like, and what do you want your kids to experience?
Right. I know from having practiced family law for 35 years and having heard the horror stories of some parents who are so locked in a battle between themselves that they really can't see the forest for the trees, and they're bashing the other party in front of the kids and involving the children in adult issues. So I really recommend that my clients go see a therapist, go see a psychologist like you, to really work through some of those issues and be able to communicate in a healthy way to the children, because most of the damage, from what I understand, to the children is from the high conflict in a divorce and what's said to them, rather than just the actual divorce itself. Is that right?
Yep, you're exactly right. So we have some pretty good, robust data now that tells us that it is that child's exposure to conflict that is the most damaging part of a divorce. The reality is everyone in the family experiences some hurt during a divorce process at some point in time. Everybody feels some hurt, grief, other kinds of stress. For children who remain in a high conflict situation, they don't have a chance to recover from that. So we don't see the resilience that we can see in other children who have a chance to recover once each parent reaches their own emotional equilibrium. The homes become more stable. Some of the transitions become stable. There was a study done a number of years ago comparing children in married or intact family homes to children from divorced homes, expecting that the children in and then they divided those homes into high conflict and low conflict. And really the two groups they found the difference between were children who were in high conflict homes, whether married or separated, versus children who were in low conflict homes. So it really teased out that level of conflict they're exposed to. The other part about a divorce conflict is that, remember, for kids, half of them comes from mom and half comes from dad. And whether you see it now or you see it later, being exposed to that conflict damages kids' self-esteem, which is that driver for them making good choices and succeeding in life.
Yeah, that is so helpful, Barbara. I always encourage my clients to, no matter what, get into the therapeutic process during the divorce, just to help them manage so much of the anxiety and stress and pressures, which will naturally help the children. So that's what we're all about, trying to provide hope and help here. I always ask my guests, do you have a healthy tip for our audience today?
It's hard to sometimes pick one, but what I'm going to say is my healthy tip is, when you think about your health, don't forget about your emotional health and your mental health. Next month is May when we're recording this, and it's Mental Health Month. And my one tip for managing your emotional health over time is put together your A team. Even if it's one person or 5 people, it's that person or people that you can identify where you have a reciprocal relationship, that you can connect with someone when you need to, that they can give you advice, information, coping, feedback, a touch point to help you whenever you sort of need that as you're going through whatever big transitions come through your way or whatever goals you take on.
And that's great advice too. Those kinds of positive relationships in our lives are so important, and it's really great to have those in place before you have a huge traumatic event or something, so you can go to those folks and rely on them. Barbara, this has been amazing. I love your input. Thank you so much for being on the channel today. To our guests, I'm going to say, if you have any questions or comments for Barbara or for me, leave those in the comment section below. If you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're doing these videos every week, so we look forward to seeing you next time. Barbara, again, thank you so much for being on the channel.
My pleasure, Tom. It's always good to be with you.
Yeah, I just really enjoy you. I know that you have provided so much hope and help to people in the Central Florida community for so many years. So thank you so much. And we will see everybody next time. Bye-bye.